In 2023, on the biggest stage of NCAA women's basketball, unfolded what could be considered the most egregious act of disrespect ever witnessed in the sport. As a longtime NBA fan who has followed the season, playoffs, and finals for nearly 2 decades, I can't recall ever witnessing the level of disrespect that Angel Reese showed Caitlin Clark on April 2nd of 2023. I mean, she literally followed Caitlin around, mimicking the "you can't see me" gesture popularized by WWE star John Cena, as if to suggest that she was on a level far beyond Clark's reach. Then, to top it off, she pointed to her ring finger, delivering a clear message to Caitlin that she was on the brink of winning the championship, while Caitlin was on the brink of leaving empty-handed. This sent the media into a frenzy.
My issue with Reese is that she followed Caitlin Clark around the floor. The game was over. Caitlin Clark is walking off, and Reese is trying to catch up to her to wave in her face and point at her finger. And do you feel better about yourself now?
YouTube erupted over this. Reddit was exploding with discussions. The entire basketball world was in an uproar. When Caitlin Clark was asked about it, however, she remained unfazed, even going so far as to defend Angel.
She should never be criticized for what she did.
It's remarkable how she handled this major insult with such grace, which really goes to show the depth of her character. Anyway, unfortunately for Caitlin, being the competitor she is, she didn't get a chance to turn things around or correct her mistakes that year, as that was the final game of the season. And to make matters worse, there were no regular season matchups between LSU and Iowa in the upcoming season, meaning their only potential rematch would be in the 2024 NCAA tournament, if both teams had strong enough seasons and advanced far enough to face each other again. Fortunately for Caitlin, the basketball gods intervened, ensuring a round 2 of the drama that unfolded a year earlier. On April 1st, 2024, exactly 1 year later, the basketball world was treated to another showdown in the Elite Eight, pitting the golden girl of women's basketball, Caitlin Clark, against her arch nemesis, Angel Reese.
We are so happy to be with you tonight for this epic matchup between LSU and Iowa. You can already feel the energy in this building. These are the 2 most high-scoring offenses in the nation.
With all the drama surrounding their first major matchup, one important detail that often got overlooked was the strong supporting cast Angel Reese had. In 2023, LSU had incredible depth, and in that championship game, they were absolutely on fire. For example, one player went 9 for 16 from the field, scoring 20 points. Another player added 21 points, shooting 8 for 14, while a third was scorching hot, hitting 5 of 6 from three-point range and 7 of 8 overall, finishing with 22 points. While Angel did record a double-double with 15 points and 10 rebounds, her overall efficiency was pretty bad. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark poured in 30 points, but none of her teammates even cracked 15. So, for Angel to show the level of disrespect she did was actually quite surprising, since her teammates carried most of the load. By the time they faced off in 2024, however, the strong support Angel had in that previous matchup was gone. Though she still had a solid team, it wasn't loaded with multiple players on the verge of going pro. So, this time, the battlefield was more evenly matched, and the world eagerly awaited the showdown. The Elite Eight clash between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese drew an astonishing 16 million viewers, surpassing even the 2023 NCAA championship. To put it in perspective, the 2023 WNBA Finals, celebrated as the most watched finals in over 2 decades, averaged less than 1 million viewers per game. It's clear that the entire basketball world was locked in for this grudge match. But funny enough, just before the game started, Angel Reese shared her strategy, expressing the key to shutting down Caitlin Clark was to focus on neutralizing her teammates.
We're going to have to really worry about those other players. We did a lot of film on those other players, of course, because she wins with 30 and they lose with 30.
That was a major miscalculation on Angel's part because, well, If there was ever a game where Angel Reese had to look at Caitlin and say, "Yes, ma'am," it was this one, because Caitlin was about to show Angel something she had never seen up close before, an opponent dropping 40 points on her. Throughout Angel's entire college career, no player had ever scored that many points against her in a single game. But on April 1st, 2024, in her final college game, she was about to find out firsthand why the gap in popularity between her and Caitlin was so immense. It didn't take long for it to start either, because the moment the game began, Caitlin went straight to work.
LSU, an outstanding offensive rebounding team. Clark connects!
Whether it was scoring or playmaking, Caitlin was unstoppable, and there was nothing Angel could do to slow her down.
Clark has scored or assisted on 15 of 17 Iowa points.
At that point, the LSU coach had no choice but to step in and call a timeout, with Angel Reese visibly frustrated. I mean, a 9-17 score was likely far from what LSU had envisioned before the game began. To her credit, however, Reese and LSU fought back valiantly, even managing to take the lead at one point.
Steal! Reese all the way in to give LSU the lead!
At this point, the crowd erupted, chanting, "LSU! LSU! LSU!" As I mentioned earlier, however, Caitlin was more ready for Reese this year, and this was the game where Caitlin made Reese say, "Yes, ma'am." When the second half began, Reese finally realized the difference between them, because this was when Caitlin truly took over. Starting in this third frame, Caitlin Clark transformed into a Steph Curry-like force, draining unbelievable shots from distances most players wouldn't even dream of attempting.
Caitlin Clark has outscored the Tigers this quarter.
Most players, if they tried those shots, would either look ridiculous or find themselves immediately sent back to the bench. It was clear at this point that, unlike last year when Reese had multiple teammates on the brink of going pro and shooting lights out, that this time the game would rest squarely on Reese's shoulders if LSU was going to advance. This year, she couldn't count on her teammates to carry the load. Caitlin, on the other hand, kept piling it on Reese. At one point, Caitlin even drained a three-pointer right in Reese's face, leaving Reese with nothing to do but shrug in a "what can I do" gesture. Not long after that, she zipped a pass right past Reese's face. Moments like these left Reese looking helpless. When you're up against all-time greatness and that player is having an all-time great game, there's really nothing you can do. Especially when you realize you have to do it all on your own. The fans knew exactly what was happening, and while Caitlin was too classy to mock Reese, they made sure to return the 2023 "you can't see me" gesture right back at her. Things had come full circle from a year ago, and before long, Angel fouled out while trying to force her way to the basket. This year, there would be no finger pointing from Reese, just some quiet chatter from the bench instead. From the bench, Reese could only watch as Caitlin Clark wrapped up her 41-point performance, showing everyone who was boss. So much for Reese's game plan of stopping the others. As I mentioned earlier, this was the first and last time Angel Reese ever witnessed someone drop 40 points on her in college, and it came from the same girl she tried to humiliate a year ago. This perfectly illustrates the power of letting your game do the talking instead of relying on trash talk.
This time, it's Iowa! Galactic greatness from Caitlin Clark.
After the game, Caitlin had every chance to give Angel a taste of her own medicine, to trash talk just as she had been a year ago. But instead, she chose to be gracious in both the way she finished the game and during her post-game interview. Now, there's one more important point I need to mention that I haven't covered yet in this video, and that's the fact that if this was the day Caitlin Clark showed Angel Reese who's boss, it was also the day she showed Haley Van Lith who's her maker. Sure, Caitlin Clark dropped 41 points against Angel Reese and LSU, but nearly 37 of those points came directly at the expense of Haley Van Lith. As I watched this game, one of the first things that stood out was that Haley was guarding Caitlin near the entire time. And let me tell you, in my 20 plus years of watching NBA level basketball, I've never seen one player get torched so badly by another, yet still stick with guarding them. Time and time again, Caitlin either shot over her or blew past her like she was a practice cone. Honestly, as I watched this game, I actually felt bad for Haley. When someone's getting beaten this badly, you've got to either take them out of the game or switch to another defender. This fan comment captures it perfectly. It only took 37 Caitlin Clark points, 10 assists, and 9 threes for Kim to realize maybe she shouldn't put Hailey Van Lith on an island, LMAO. Later comments added, Mulkey is a dumbass for even trying that out. To which another fan responded, it's not that she tried it out, but that she kept doing it until the 19th Caitlin Clark Masterclass possession before deciding it was a bad idea. Honestly, this game was rough for Haley, making her look so bad that it seriously tanked her WNBA stock. According to Mulkey, Haley had been aiming to get drafted this year, but because of this game, she's opting for another year in college to rebuild her stock. Caitlin absolutely torched her, turning her into barbecue chicken on the court. Honestly, this was even worse than when Jalen Rose got torched by Kobe for 81 points. At least in that game, everyone took a turn trying to guard Kobe, but in this game, it was almost exclusively Haley. As another fan put it, holy cow, Mulkey just set her up to die in the Iowa game. Hailey Van Lith will likely remember this game for the rest of her life. It was the day she experienced what LeBron felt for half a decade going up against Steph Curry. Because the truth is, Caitlin Clark is the female version of Steph Curry. And if you're curious about what I mean, or want the full story behind it, make sure to watch this video right here where I break it all down.